Well, we've been watching Sean English's recovery since that accident back in 2017 that severely injured him and killed 48-year-old Dr. Cynthia Ray. They had stopped to help others in an accident when they were hit by a drunk driver.
It's a horrendous story, but we watched him almost immediately get back on his feet, and that attitude hasn't really changed in college, which is where Jason Colthorpe recently caught up with him in West Lafayette, Indiana. And Jason is here with us now live. He is such an inspirational story, Jason.
He really is. Just talking to him is infectious, and you're going to see more of that in a second. Made the trip down to Purdue to talk to him as he's about to graduate. Always wanted to go to Purdue. We learned this about him in the past. His dad went there. He joined his dad's fraternity, but he found out, as it turns out, it wasn't what he wanted to do. It's what he needed to do.
Next week, you're going to be presenting your portfolios in class.
It's a little tough to focus in this class at Purdue University. Not only is it a Friday morning, but it's very close to graduation day for these Boilermakers.
And networking, it will happen. Everybody does get a job.
Sean English is lucky enough to have already landed a job, although lucky isn't normally a word you'd use for someone who starts their day by attaching a prosthetic leg. As a high school senior at U of D Jesuit, we were all amazed at his constant progress and relentless positive attitude. But his real healing started the day he arrived in West Lafayette 4 years ago.
Nobody knew who I was. I was just a regular student. Just everyone came in with a clean slate, and that's really what I needed.
Part of that has been talking about what happened to him 6 years ago, which he's fine doing. But that doesn't mean he doesn't have a little fun with it first.
I've said shark bites. I've said didn't eat my vegetables. I've said every story under the sun just to get them to laugh about it. And then when they start laughing, then I can tell them the story.
The story begins just after 7:30 a.m. on Sunday, April 2nd, 2017.
Soon, two people rushed to help those inside that Jeep, but those two Good Samaritans soon became victims themselves when another vehicle hit them. 17-year-old English had to have his foot amputated.
The loss of his leg was devastating for Sean, who was a cross-country runner. But we watched as he quickly stood on a new prosthetic and then walked and then ran. It was an inspiring story to watch from afar, but for Sean, he's had to learn to ration that energy.
A few years ago, I thought I was Superman. I still think I'm strong, but there's honor in asking for help instead of weakness. And it took me a few years to figure that out.
After his freshman year, Sean was awarded the Tyler Trent Courage and Resilience Award. Tyler was a Purdue student who lost a battle with cancer, but not before inspiring the rest of campus and many across the country.
That pressure in living up to his name, living up to Dr. Cynthia Ray's name, who passed away in the original accident, is something that makes me a better person every single day.
Sean's next challenge starts 9 days after graduation as a multimedia journalist, where he's not only going to be the reporter, he'll be the photographer and, yes, have to lug around all that gear by himself.
I play 2 hours of basketball. I can lug a camera around.
Welcome back to Fast Track Live News Break.
Being a one-man band, as we call it, doesn't bother Sean.
I've learned to love the business, but I've learned to love storytelling. And if you guys take the time to tell a story about me, then that inspires me to take the time to tell the story about other people. From the rink to the turf, but first, let's start with the hardwood. Career goal with me being so family-oriented is to get back to Detroit. It's been a dream of mine ever since I wanted to do this, is to report the news in the place that changed my life.
Yeah, and we talk about challenges. How about the fact that he plays pickup basketball just to go out and play for a couple hours at a time? That's amazing. But some of the jobs he's had in college, I didn't even cover that. How about being a bouncer at a bar, a bartender, two things that require you to be on your feet a lot. And later on, he wants to be a motivational speaker down the road, do that maybe on the side, but he definitely wants to share his story because he wants people to know just because someone's disabled doesn't mean they can't do something. Guys, it's really incredible. Yeah. Karen, Devin, back to you.
Well, and the wisdom that he has now to say that there is valor in asking for help. I love that. But we saw him in a lot of sports settings. That's obviously really always been important to him, Jason.
It has. He'd actually try. I think he wants to make that his goal down the line. He's going to be a news reporter now, but I think down the line he'd like to try and be go back to sports. In fact, tomorrow morning he's going to be on with us at 7 a.m. on Local 4 Plus. Number one, he's going to talk about why he didn't share with his parents he was doing this story tonight. They saw this was a surprise for them. We're going to talk to him about that, and also maybe turn it over to him and let him do a little sports cast before it's all over.
Oh, I want to watch this. 7 a.m. tomorrow. All right.
That's fantastic.
That's
Yep.
really cool.
Top of the 7 o'clock tomorrow on Local 4 Plus.
I like that.
Great
Look
stuff,
at Sean
Jason. Yeah,
learning how to
I
do a
know.
good tease to get his parents involved too. All right.
It's pretty good, isn't it? Yeah.
Thank you, Jason.
Good stuff, Jason. Yeah.